Wonderhussy here, back at Burning Man. That's right, I'm back out on the Black Rock Desert, Playa, where they have the annual Burning Man festival, which is basically something like 80,000 crazy people that come out here and subject themselves to all kinds of physical torments in the name of art. And speaking of art, I just rode my bike out to what I thought was just a little half-finished art project, but it turned out to be super cool. Look at this. Okay, first of all, I'm way out on the edge of the playa, almost at the perimeter where the trash fence is that collects all the trash that gets loose and blows away. And it's kind of this, I guess it's a saloon. It's got one swinging door on the front. Swing our way into the saloon. And then it's this amazing little sort of half-built miner's shack looking thing, but it's got a chandelier. And look at this. It's got, I guess that's a Wurlitzer jukebox. And it says free play. You don't have to put in a quarter. Now the screen is totally blank and there's no, names of songs down here. So I have no idea what's gonna happen if we push this button. Let's see.
You spent too much money on tickets and drugs to sleep in a tent and piss in a jug. The music's so loud you can't even hear. You're covered in dust, but the answer is clear. Is it worth it? It's really worth it. And it's always better next year.
There's a saying among the people at Burning Man. It was better next year. You save up all your money and vacation time so that every August you can drag all your crap hundreds of miles out to the middle of nowhere in one of the harshest, most unforgiving landscapes in the world. The Black Rock Desert, where Mother Nature doesn't care how far you drove, how much money you spent, or how much time it took to hot glue that cute little costume. You're either choked with dust, drenched in sweat, drowning in mud, or, if you're really lucky, like those of us who attended Burning Man 2025, all three. That's right, it was a trifecta. Mud, sweat, and tears, thanks to a raging dust storm with gale force winds that tore through the event just as everyone was wrapping up the back-breaking process of building Black Rock City. This year, I was staying at a camp called Hair of the Dog, the longest-running live music dive bar on the Playa. Every year for 25 years, these guys have built a full bar and performance stage, complete with instruments and PA system, where all are welcome to get up and jam, or just sit at the bar and enjoy a cold drink. I came up a few days early to help build camp because it takes a lot to put all this together, and we had just finished setting everything up when the storm came through on Saturday night and completely obliterated everything we'd worked so hard to build. 45-mile-an-hour winds tore through the camp, shredding tarps and warping metal poles, destroying tents and collapsing shade structures. My own pop-up canopy was completely trashed, and all my pretty little lights and tapestries lay jumbled in a sad, dusty heap of busted expectations and broken dreams. So yeah, I have no shade, my camp is wrecked, but at least I know I'm not alone. A number of camps were totally obliterated, and a number of these art pieces. You can see there's still people out here working on building, I think that's the temple over there. They're still working on building the temple because the storm basically ruined things for a lot of people. In fact, the storm was so bad, I heard the Orgy Dome shut down altogether. That's right, this is going to be the first Burning Man without an Orgy Dome. What are they going to do? What did they do? Well, they didn't give up and go home. Believe it or not, burners actually have a lot in common with the Navy SEALs. Say what you will about dirty hippies, but if there's one thing they're good at, it's embracing the suck. As soon as the storm passed and the dust settled, the citizens of Black Rock City set about rebuilding, which was no easy feat considering the complete lack of services and the fact that the nearest Home Depot was 300 miles away. But burners are tough, and resourceful and were able to salvage most of the infrastructure. Speaking for my own camp, it may not have looked as pretty as it did the first time around, but you can't keep a good dive bar down. My personal area, however, was a different story. This is the site of my late great camp, where once stood a beautiful shade structure with a chandelier hanging from it and all kind of fancy tapestries and fripperies, which all unfortunately blew away in the storm. And at first I thought, oh golly, do I really want to stay here for another week with no shade to sit in front of my trailer? And it seemed like none of this was worth it. But then I remembered the words of the Navy SEALs, where they tell you to embrace the suck. And a very kind couple came by and gave me this awesome lantern that they 3D printed that says Black Rock City 2025 Wonderhussy. And look, it even lights up. A beacon in the darkest hour to remind all of us that no matter how dire conditions are, you can still have a good time. You know what they say, when the going gets tough, the tough get high and dance their asses off. And that's pretty much what happened at Burning Man 2025. Despite the destruction wrought by the windstorm, the party kept going, even when the gods continued to smite the playa with a series of punishing thunderstorms. I'm telling you, we couldn't catch a break this year. In a flashback to the infamous mudpocalypse of 2023, the ground turned to soupy muck again, forcing the organizers to temporarily halt traffic and close the gates, just as thousands of burners were arriving, forcing some people to wait in line for over 20 hours. But still, the indomitable spirit of Burning Man prevailed. You can rain on the parade, but you can't quench the fire burning in the marching band. I wonder if they're supposed to be heads. Okay, well, they finished building the temple, but the weather doesn't look promising. It's now Wednesday, and pretty much the entire event has been thoroughly unpleasant. The first 2 days I was here were broiling hot, then it was insanely windy, and then yesterday it poured rain all day. And now it looks like another storm is blowing in. Look at that, we can't even see the temple anymore. That's the same direction I was just filming. A cold, dusty wind. Ah, my hat! Boy, I would have felt like a real asshole if I lost this. Better seek shelter in a nearby art piece. Wow. This is pretty cool. Okay, I just climbed up this corkscrew sort of ladder situation and came into this mirrored chamber. Look at the ceiling. Stained glass. Look how cool that is. There's even a skylight in the top. Fabulous, except there's a trap door in the middle, so you gotta be careful that you don't fall down. And I don't know, call me crazy, but a metal tower might not be the best place to be in a thunderstorm. Oh well, another burner axiom is safety third. I mean, you don't go camping in the middle of a windswept playa in the middle of monsoon season, riding a bike in 7-inch platform boots on mushrooms you got from a bearded stranger in a utilikilt because you're trying to comply with OSHA regulations. I mean, life isn't fun unless you take a few risks. Hi, Mom! And fortunately, all that risk-taking and diligent persistence in the face of adversity finally did pay off. That's right, I'm still here. Today is Thursday. You can probably tell from my voice that things have been a little nutty. Thankfully, at least the weather seems to have calmed down. The last of the apocalyptic thunderstorms passed yesterday evening, and now the skies are, well, mostly blue, very sunny, and unfortunately, very hot.
Hi.
Oh, hold on a minute. This beautiful influencer just apologized for being in the background. Babe, you do not need to apologize. You look fantastic. Am I right? Anyway, it's hot, man. That's a downside. You know, as much as the rain sucked and made things unpleasant and soggy and muddy and extremely bumpy to ride a bike on, well, at least it dissipated this ungodly heat. Well, now that the clouds are mostly gone, the heat is back. It's, I think, 95, 96 degrees today. And my little trailer is like an oven, which is why I decided to come ride my bike out here onto the playa and look at some art and sexy influencers. Okay, you know, when the influencers emerge from their air-conditioned motorhomes, it means 6 more days of good weather. And it was! For the remainder of the event, the days were sunny and hot. Perfect conditions, despite my lack of a shade canopy, for riding around checking out all the fantastic art and art cars that make Burning Man such an interesting experience. On calm, sunny days, you pretty much forget all about the wind and the dust and the rain and the challenges, because riding a bicycle around the immense expanse of the Black Rock Playa in good weather is one of the most fun things ever. Everyone you meet is happy and smiling, and no, it's not just MDMA. It's a giant playground where adults can be kids again, and that brings out the joy in everyone. How about this? Deep pie. Oh my gosh, I'll bet you anything what goes on here is they make pizza in the middle of the night and serve it to people wandering around the edge of the playa late at night. That's one of my favorite things at Burning Man. You know, people are out until all hours dancing at all these crazy art cars and dance camps and wandering around looking at art and, you know, taking various substances. And, you know, you walk around, you lose track of time. Next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Gosh, I haven't eaten anything since 6 p.m. I'm starving. Oh my gosh, here I am way out here in Deep Playa. Where am I going to get some food? All of a sudden, there'll be like a grilled cheese wagon. There's a art car that's like a diner, and all the waitresses wear beehive hairdos like this, and they serve you grilled cheese sandwiches. You never know where that diner car is going to be. You kind of have to stumble on it, but they're usually prowling the perimeter of the event way out here on what they call the Deep Playa. And so I'll bet you anything that whoever set this installation up, Deep Pie, comes out here and makes pizza on this grill. Look at that. They set up a whole little kind of outdoor kitchen here. I'll bet you anything they make wood-fired pizza and serve it by the slice from this counter. Oh my gosh, yeah, look at this. It's a counter and they've got all their supplies for serving pizza. How cool is that? You know, it's not all drugs and sparkle ponies out here. People go through a lot to create really unique, bizarre experiences. I guess that's what keeps me coming back year after year. No matter how much I complain about the wind, the rain, the dust, and the heat, it's still fantastic. Whew, okay, finally, back to camp. Time to get a bite to eat, a little something to drink, and uh-oh, it's the mailman. Oh, it's the same mailman that delivered my mail the past years. Ender, how are you, Ender?
Oh, I'm alive.
Yeah, how was the storm for you guys?
Everything got trashed 3 times.
3 times? But you didn't give up?
Not yet.
Because what's the motto of the Postal Service?
And through the rust and dust and sleet and snow and rain, and all of your packages are here.
Oh my gosh, what did I get?
You have 1, 2, 3.
Oh my gosh, 72 postcards!
Plus, let's talk about your packages.
Let's talk about my packages. Was that the most mail any individual got here?
So far today.
So far today. Okay, great.
Well, I mean this week. So far this week.
Right, but I mean,
we're not over.
With all the setbacks.
I think you're the winner.
I'm the winner because I got a visit from you.
Awesome.
Woo-wee! Look at all that mail. Oh my goodness! Finally, some reinforcements. I've been here for 8 days now, and I'm starting to run low on food. So thankfully, many of these packages contain edible items. I mean, I got beef jerky, power bars, crunchy Japanese peanuts, Oreo cookies, cheesies, and liquor. Look at that. Negroni in a bottle, and a lemon drop martini. Thank you, Lisa. And it's not just food. There's also lots of personal care items, nail files, baby wipes, little things that I might need to get through the week, like a yo-yo. Thank you, Rick. He said this is an early birthday present. Light up cowboy hat. Ooh, fake eyelashes. Batteries. I mean, this stuff is all very useful to someone who's been living in the middle of a dry lake bed for 8 days, living completely off solar power. I mean, I do have a 200-watt solar panel on the roof that is powering my Jackery, which powers my Starlink and any of my devices that I need to charge. And it looks like this one's at 99%. Solar panel doing its job. And then I have one other Jackery over by my bedroom. And apologies for the mess. It's a small trailer and I'm having to unpack all this stuff. But I have another Jackery over here that I use to charge my phone and some of my LED lights. I'm charging my toothbrush right now. I have LED lights plugged into it. A little string of fairy lights. You probably can't see, but they run all the way around the interior of the entire camper. So that way at night, when it's dark outside and I get back from a long day, I just realized I should probably explain why I'm dressed like Carmen Miranda. Well, I'm about to do the Electric Vagina show. That's right, it's time for the Pussy Power Happy Hour. Kegel-powered blended vagina coladas that I do every year when I'm up here at Burning Man. So I'm doing the show in about an hour, so I gotta get ready for that. Anyway, sincere thanks to everyone who sent me something. Peter, thank you for the book. I do intend to send everyone who sent me something a thank you postcard from the post office here, stamped with the Black Rock City postal stamp. You know, Ender the mailman is so nice. Oh, I thought these were fake eyelashes. They're actually eye drops. Isn't that useful? Out here, your eyes and your sinuses get pretty messed up. So thank you for that, Lisa. Anyway, Ender the mailman is so nice, and he brought all that stuff over here for me that I decided to put together a little box for him. You know, I can't eat all these snacks myself, so I'm gonna put some of the snacks out on the bar in our camp, and then I put together a little care package for Ender with some jerky, some cheesies, some power bars, just a few things for him to take back with him on his long drive back to Phoenix. He's from the Phoenix area. You know what else Ender brought me? And I thought this was really interesting. Ugh, I gotta have this fan blasting on my face because it's so friggin' hot. It's like an oven in this camper because it's silver on the outside. You think that would reflect the heat, but instead, somehow it just turns the whole interior into one big friggin' oven, but kind of a cute oven if I do say so myself. I love this new little placemat Lisa sent me. Look at that. Very cozy at night, not so cozy in the middle of the day. Anyway, what I was just gonna say about all this mail is that Ender also brought me something like 70 postcards. 70 postcards. And I was really confused looking at them because they're all addressed to my Burning Man camp 2 years ago. The last time I was here, the fastest pizza stand in 2023. All 70 of them. And I think they're all from the same person because it's the same handwriting, but they're postmarked all over the place. Kansas City, South Suburban Illinois, another one from Illinois, Knoxville, Tennessee, Austin, Texas, St. Louis, Missouri. The same person sent me 70 blank postcards from all over the United States. And I have no idea what person it is because there's no return address. They're postcards. So I'm not really sure what to do with all 70 of these postcards. They're from 2 years ago, so I guess it doesn't matter anymore. But whoever sent these, thank you. Speaking of 2 years ago, I also got some mail from 2 years ago from a man named Bubba. And what really sucks about Bubba's note, well, he put in a really nice note saying have fun at Burning Man. But he also gave me some gas money, a check for $50. But it was dated August of 2023. Oh, dang post office. Must be all these Doge cuts. Gee, no wonder they had that anti-Elon Musk piece of artwork out here. Dang, post office can't even deliver my mail on time. I'm totally kidding. I can understand how things get lost in the shuffle, especially when you're dealing with weather conditions like we were in 2023 and this year. It's a miracle this stuff got to me at all. But Bubba, if you happen to be watching this video, well, now you know why I never cashed that check. But thanks for thinking of me. Okay, anyway, it is so hot in here. I'm not even glowing. I'm drenched in sweat, and I need to go on and do my show in about 45 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap this up for now and go out to meet my adoring public. You know, I'd love to film this performance, but I'm kind of afraid it'll get demonetized by YouTube, even though it's not an actual vagina, it's an electric vagina. They're kind of weird about stuff like that. And moreover, there's a sign in our little dive bar that we have here at camp that says, no phones, no video. Anyone who does has to blow everyone out the bar. And if you know anything about me, you know I'm not about to blow anybody. Love it!
Thank you. You look fantastic as well.
Thankfully, my campmate Sylvia recorded some footage of my performance, and doubly thankfully, the rain had cleared up in time for it, because you wouldn't want to risk getting electrocuted when you're making vagina coladas. Know what I mean? But the weather held, and it turned out to be a beautiful night for the big man burn. All the stress and worries of the past week were completely forgotten, and wandering around in the balmy night air, marveling at the colorful parade of humanity and creativity, the gale force winds and thunderstorms seemed like another lifetime. In fact, the challenging conditions earlier in the week made the perfect weather on burn night seem even more magical. A reward for not giving up and not giving in. When life hands you lemons, make electric lemonade and enjoy every drop, because you never know if it'll be your last. Well, it's Sunday, and everyone's packing up to go home, but I'm still here. Ain't it always the way? Whenever there's a party, I'm the last one standing. Although I'm barely standing. Look at this bruise on my leg, which unfortunately happened to me earlier in the week when I was trying to pedal through this really soft, churned up playa and bonked the hell out of my shin on one of my bike pedals. I don't know. I think I'll heal. I also cut my thumb in the big storm last Saturday, but that's pretty much healing. I got a blister today from busting up all the glass bottles at my camp because we're a full-service bar camp. We had a lot of empty glass bottles, and we had one of those big glass crushing things like at a construction site with this big heavy metal thing that you drop on. Anyway, I busted a bunch of glass bottles today. I got a blister. I bonked my shin. I got a rash on my ass, my butt cheeks, I think, from riding around on this sweaty ass bike seat in this miserable heat. That's right, as if the storm that gave me the cut on my hand wasn't bad enough. It was real hot once the weather cleared up, and so I think, I don't know, it's some kind of heat rash. I'd show you, but unfortunately, if I showed my butt cheeks on the internet, well, society would collapse. Just like what happened to the poor Orgy Dome. Because I had my Starlink with me, I was able to read a few news stories, see what the mainstream media is saying about Burning Man this year, and all the news stories were all about how this terrible storm blew through and destroyed the Orgy Dome. People are endlessly fascinated by this Orgy Dome. Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. It's not even a dome. It's basically a bunch of carports tied together. Well, I'm being a little bit facetious. They do a nice job with it. I've never been inside it, but my sister has, and I've seen pictures of it. And, you know, it's just a nice, safe, air-conditioned space for people to have intimate relations. Because, you know, I guess people take drugs out here and they get amorous and they want to hook up. And, well, you could just hook up in the dirt like many people were doing in the embers of the man last night. That's right. I wanted to film it, but obviously I can't. Once the man burns down to a reasonable fire, they open up the perimeter and you can go up and roast wieners on the embers, or people were baking potatoes, people were running around naked in a circle. It was very pagan. It was very much like what everyone thinks Burning Man is, a bunch of naked people running around this giant bonfire. And then there were a number of couples just laying in the dirt at the edge of the fire having sex. I'm telling you, it was wild. It was a wild year from start to finish. 50 50-mile-an-hour winds, thunderstorms, rain. A baby was born. Did you hear about that? That was also all over the news. This woman didn't know she was pregnant. And people go, oh, how many drugs was this lady on? Well, apparently it's not that uncommon. It's called a cryptic pregnancy. And it happens not that rarely where a woman can carry a baby almost a full term and not even know she's pregnant. So this woman woke up in the middle of the night. Thankfully, she was in her RV. She thought she had to poop and she went in the bathroom and it got really bad cramps and a baby came out. Surprise, a little baby girl. The baby didn't even weigh 4 pounds. It was she was, I think, only 8 months. So she was a little bit premature. So I guess maybe that's why she didn't show. But anyway, there happened to be a nurse or an OBGYN or something on Playa nearby. And so she came in and helped. And they airlifted the baby to the hospital in Reno. But I thought that was cool that a baby was born, because normally all you hear about is the people who die here, okay? People die at this event every single year. And in fact, this year, I think there was a murder. I mean, this is terrible, but last night when they were burning the man, right at 9 o'clock, when everybody here is raging in this giant party, standing around this giant man on fire, dancing and doing all kinds of things, they found a guy passed out unconscious, dead, in a big pool of blood way back in the city in one of the camps. And so they cordoned it off like a crime scene. I think they're investigating it as a crime scene. So I don't know what happened there, but it's terrible, and it really puts my bonk chin in perspective. The only thing I'm kind of bummed about is I lost my lantern, that little beacon of hope that I had earlier in the video, which was a pretty cool Playa gift itself. Well, the roads are so friggin' bumpy this year because it was real soft and dusty, and then the rain kind of made everything mushy, and then it got all chopped up, and then when it dried out, it's really, really, really bumpy to ride a bike, and so stuff is bouncing around out of your seat. And unfortunately, I think the lantern bounced out of my bike basket somewhere over on the 8 o'clock side of the city, and I looked for it, man. I didn't want to litter. Although whoever finds it got a pretty bitchin' piece of moot, because that lantern was not only really useful, but it was a beacon of hope. You know, even when that windstorm destroyed my shade canopy and I had to sit in the broiling sun in the heat of day with sweat dripping down my rashy ass cheeks, I never gave up trying to have fun. And that little lantern was kind of like a metaphor. You know, Burning Man, it was better next year. And I guess that hope that it was better next year is what keeps me coming back year after year through winds and rain and dust and calamity. The thought that maybe this is the next year that it was better, well, that's what keeps me going. And that's what keeps me going in life in general. So as busted up as I am right now, I actually feel pretty dang good. And I'm going to go ahead and call Burning Man 2025 a success, despite what the haters say and despite what the mainstream media says. Remember, you heard it here from me, somebody who was actually here and survived and maybe even thrived at Burning Man. But guess what? It was still better next year.